Newgate, one of the entrances to the walled city of Chester, leads to the old Roman amphitheatre and through the gardens where stone columns of the Roman era have been erected. The clock on the east gate is a well-known landmark and has 4 faces. Walking round the walls is a pleasant pastime. Passing King Charles's Tower and North Gate, we arrive on City Walls Road, which overlooks the Rue D racecourse. Entering the city, this imposing building, the town hall, faces us, standing high and proud. The cathedral has become very enclosed, the city encroaching almost to its doors. The cross marks the centre of the city and from rows. They consist of covered galleries above street-level shops and are reached by staircases. It is thought that the rows were built after Chester was destroyed by fire in 1278. This building dates from 1664 and was once the townhouse of the Earls of Shrewsbury. Bridgegate leads down to the river, a very important feature of any Roman city, but today the Dee and the Ouse at York are used mainly for recreational purposes and for pleasure boat trips. The river here in York flows through the centre of the city and has been a great asset to its trade over the centuries. The museum gardens houses the Roman Angular Tower and St Mary's Abbey ruins. The gardens are also a perfect backcloth for the York Mystery Plays. In this lovely setting is the Yorkshire Museum, which contains fine medieval statues unearthed in these grounds, and an egg nearly 2,000 years old. The battlements are unusual, having shutters for protection from attack. The King's Manor was once the residence of Thomas Wentworth, Earl of Stafford. Charles I stayed here when visiting York, and James VI of Scotland spent a night here on his way south to become James I of England. The Minster treasurer lived here from the Roman times, but it became a private residence in Henry VIII's reign. Since 1930 it has been in the care of the National Trust. Minster chantry priests once had their communal home in St William's College until it was suppressed at the Reformation, and in 1642 Charles I set up his printing press here. St William, a 12th century Archbishop of York, sits above the doorway. The mansion house is the official home of the Lord Mayor. It was built in 1725 and is the oldest in England. Castle Museum was originally a prison for females, and in and around the former exercise yard, old cobble streets have been constructed, surrounded by authentic bygone shops. Clifford's Tower is all that remains of the keep of a medieval castle, and is the only four-sided keep in England. The original wooden keep was destroyed in 1190 during the Jewish riots. The Company of the Merchant Adventurers, a wealthy medieval guild, had almost total jurisdiction over the city's commerce. The guild still exists to administer its charities and maintain its properties, and they meet in the 14th century guild hall. The Shambles is probably the most famous street in York, and was originally the Street of the Butchers. Some of the first floors overhang so far in places it is possible to shake hands across the street. The shops are now occupied by craftsmen of different trades. There has been a thoroughfare in Stonegate for over 1900 years, and there is Roman cobbling below the present road. The city walls are pierced by 4 gates or bars, Bootham Gate and Micklegate being 2. They were built to command the main roads leading to York, and at any sign of danger their massive doors would be shut and the portcullis lowered. The Great Minster dominates the skyline of York and is visible from most parts of the wall. From its windows, screens and carvings can be traced its turbulent history. The Rose and the Minster are only part of our heritage, but they must be preserved in these two walled cities.